Sorry. Almost dropped my headphones. Good morning, everybody! We are off to an almost, not disastrous start, but noisy start. And welcome to Stonehearth Dev Stream number 253, concept art, in which we are going to actually do a little bit of that, and we're gonna also talk a little bit about 2017, and I'm messing with things on a website. Oops, that's weird. Twitch, behave. Cool, there we go. I wanted to get this over here. That's the wrong camera. There's the right camera. Awesome. Sorry, that was weird. I was a little disorganized this morning. So, thank you for joining me today. Sorry about that hiccup in the beginning. And as I was saying, we're going to take a little time today and talk a bit about 2017 and what that's going to look like for art in Stonehearth, because you guys have been tuning in every Wednesday, some of you, and we've been doing a lot of things that have been really kind of like focused on adding cool things to support our features as they've been rolling out. And like over the past couple of weeks especially, we've seen so many months and weeks really, we've seen so many fun growth spurts, and we've like been adding awesome people to the team who are helping us like realize even cooler Stonehearth and helping us add things like better gameplay systems and adorable animations and all that amazing things. So it's really fun to see how everything's been coming together and how everything's been kind of shifting around, like moving towards that goal of like the coolest game possible. And as a part of that, we're coming together as a team to figure out like how we can best work together to achieve that. And for me, that means I'm actually going to be spending a lot of time taking a step back from all of like the adorable templates and cool goblins and the stuff that we've really been doing all this time, which sounds really awful. Oh, I hate even just saying it. But we're gonna be returning to some of the more like super high perspective top-down studies, like bigger looks at like the overarching like themes and like ideas powering the art of Stonehearth to make sure it's doing exactly what it needs to do and that it can be the best thing it can be. And I think the best I don't know if I even have them on here. That would be really odd. I think the best comparison I can draw between that and some of what we've already done this year was when we took a step back and we worked on the edge of the world studies. Like this for me was like the biggest example of what that looked like this year, in that hey, where'd it go? Windows, you are insane. I've opened it 100 times just now. Awesome. So this was a cool study because this was like one of the first times we like took a step back and like really grabbed like a conceptual high level look at the art of Stonehearth. And what wound up happening was we found some really cool like art stuff, but found that in order to do any of this, like this storybook idea, or even like constellations. Well, that's kind of relevant to what I wanted to play with today. Gutter problem. You know what? Maybe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. But, whether it's like the storybook idea, or even something like this, where it's like, hey, what if like all of these tiny patches of land were like floating in the sea somewhere? It's like everything we did to, and again, this was a really big problem we were trying to solve. We were looking at the edge of our world, which we fondly refer to as the pizza box, and thinking of how we could include it into the world, so it wouldn't just be like you get to the edge of the map and it's just like this break and it doesn't fit in anywhere. But it's like every approach that we came to is something that would want support, whether it would be like lore, more art about it throughout the game, more like clues you could discover about it, like why would the world be broken up and floating out at sea? That's really terrifying. Or is it just like the whole world is a huge archipelago? Series of islands! Word that I can't pronounce. That happens a lot. Thank you for bearing with me. Or even like gameplay implications. So the important part here is what we want to do is take the time and work on these bigger ideas and make sure all that stuff like exists from the get-go. So big switch in perspective coming out of 2016, which has been like so much fun. Again, we've worked on a crazy amount of things on the stream, and that's been super fun and amazing. So I've got some news about that at the end of the stream today. And also I wanted to take a little bit of time. So I'm in the process right now. This is a little premature. I'm in the process right now of writing together like a big old thing that kind of outlines the directions that we want to start going with, and I'm like syncing up with my teammates, and we're figuring out how to kick off the new year with like what concept art do we need to start with. And part of it, and it's not like just a part of it, is taking a look at the art of Stonehearth as it is right now, figuring out like what it's missing, like atmosphere wise. Like we did studies about clouds, we did studies about the edge of the world, but like what do we need to add to it to bring it even more to life? And one of the things that came up a really long time ago that I really wanted to make some concept art for, but we wound up having to kind of back burner it and move on to other features stuff, was ways of looking at the sky that didn't involve either looking out at the horizon or looking up, which you really can't do in Stonehearth. So let's spend a little time today playing with that idea. And I want to catch up with the chat really quick because I've been talking my head off about all of this stuff. This has been a huge week. So good morning, TPC Turtle Squish, and Badfish is now auto-hosting me. I wonder if they are here. Good morning if they are. Sarandaries, Turtle Squish, and Natsert, and Archipelago. Yes. So, actually, yes, TPC Turtle Squish threw in a comment into the chat that is actually really accurate. It's that my phone is dinging. That's super weird. Please stop that. But, as TPC Turtle Squish has thrown into the chat, exploration needs to be focused on. That's exactly it. So we are gonna take a little bit of time and do some of that today. Hey, good morning, Mally. Glad to see you. And yeah, welcome Badfish. Yo. And Sheliak. And Squish-a-lot. I don't know if I already said good morning to you. Alrighty. So let's get cracking. So what I wanted to play with most of all was, well, not most of all. There's so many things. Gosh, I can't even say that. There's so many things. Not because it's secret, but because I like to say things like this is my favorite and the thing I want to do most of all. And there are like a million things that fit that description. And this is really such a small piece of how we could help make the look of the world a bit more atmospheric. So something that I wanted to mess with in terms of ways of looking up that don't involve actually tilting the camera up and getting a feel for the sky was seeing if we could look at the sky through puddles on the ground. So seeing like what kind of weather we're having overhead in the daytime, and even stars and constellations maybe faintly in the nighttime. And not all the time, but like just depending on what angle you've got, like what kind of lighting you've got, I thought it would be a really cool way to make it feel like you're in a place that has atmosphere, that has all these things, and it would be very pretty and very immersive. And not just like the water is like this blue thing that you only see the dirt through, that it's also like reflective. Let's see if we can pull up some sky reflected puddles at night. Well, this isn't really what I wanted. I was hoping for something a bit more fanciful here. Yeah, like stars. Stars and things. And a giant planet. I'm terrified now. Space is really scary, guys. Don't go to space. I mean, maybe go to space, but be very careful. Bring a helmet. Alright, so let's get Google out of here. And who we got? Hey, good evening, Dark Sights. And have I missed anyone else? No. Alrighty. Goodness gravy. I haven't actually looked in here in a while. Are these like all of the things? These are all of the things that we did from the Edge of the World studies. This is exciting. Okay, yeah, I think it was when we were working on this one was the first time I was like, hey, we could actually use water to look up. So that would be really fun. Ooh, an astronomical building would be really cool. I wonder if it fits with their level of technology, but I do love huge astronomy towers. That would be awesome. So again, I really believe, wow, this is just fun. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted right now because I just wanted to pile through some of these really quick. So let's take a screenshot. Are we in the right thing? We're in the right thing. What do we got? This is always a little bit weird. Alpha 19 test version. Let's do this. And temperate. Sure. Because we're not actually going to plant the flag. We're just gonna grab a picture. And we want something that's got, yeah, a puddle in it. That's a pretty big puddle. Oh, it's got like a little mountain guy over it. See, this would be ideal. Maybe, let's re-roll the map. Let's see if we can get something smaller. Hey, there we go. Awesome. This might work, this might not work. Let's have a look. So many things. We'll try not to do this too many times because I don't want to eat up our stream like doing a bunch of loading bar stuff. This is actually like, this is our last Wednesday stream of the year even. Holy cow, where did it even go? That's a pretty good puddle. What else we got? Got a little baby one. Oh, wow, that is perfectly rectangular. Interesting. That's a nice one too. I feel like you used to be able to zoom out further than this, but it could be my imagination. I like this one because it's got a rabbit statue and a clear view of some berry bushes, so it evokes a sense of relative safety in that you won't be starving to death. This is also cool because we might be able to like play with reflections of the trees in the water as well. Make it even cooler. Because right now it's like the trees throw shadows on the water. Let's see what we can do. So, the goal of this exercise is to create something really pretty and atmospheric using the style that we've already got within the game. And also just to see if this even works. What was that thing again? Alt-Z? Yes. Alright. See now, we are gonna need cool thing about space. Darksides is saying that if you go for reflection, then you need stuff like fog, rain, and wind to boost the ambience, in my opinion. Also, cloud shadows drifting over land. Absolutely, I agree with you. There are ancient astronomers, and perhaps with the inclusion of the geomancer, you could have geomancers that are motivated by some kind of feng shui. Threads, you say? Surrenderies says. And Kyrian is, oh, welcome. I'm glad you're joining us today. Let's see. I just took a screenshot of a thing. I have to be careful sometimes when I'm like talking and doing things at the same time. Hey, it's Moobot. Hey, Ildred. Sometimes when I'm talking and clicking and doing all these things at the same time, my brain leaks out. Not like physically, but that would be really alarming. And definitely not appropriate for the stream. Want to get rid of that. Just take a picture of our pretty little world here. So this is going to be a little weird because I've been drawing a lot on my other tablet, and I have with me today on this machine my very old and faithful Intuos that I used to do absolutely everything with. And we're gonna see how that goes. Mock-ups? No. Ukulele? Oh, I know what that is. Okay. I got excited. Art streams. We'll call this Sky Puddles. Alright, and I also want to minimize this a little bit because I want to be able to see you guys. Let's get rid of that. Oh, I shouldn't have closed. Oh, I did. Hey, good morning, bass player. Moobot has important things to say as well, Turtle Squish. I think so. But you're right, it's pretty cool. And bass player, today we are going to be in the spirit of looking ahead at some of what's going to be happening in 2017, I wanted to have you guys along for a kind of an art exploration. So we're going to do a little bit of concept art, and it's a little bit premature, but this is still something that I think would be really fun to work on the stream, and it's kind of an unchecked box from the last time we did things involving like weather and sky and stuff like that. Wow, this chair is really squishy. It made me all short. Okay, let's try this. I also prefer to sit on my feet, but this chair has a very, very squishy middle, so it gets kind of uncomfortable. Okay, wow, that feels super weird now. What happened? Okay, oh, I think I just killed the layers. Here we go. Yes, get out your explorer hat. Let's see. Alright, we've got a few references over here, including one that actually shows like trees in the ground and the reflection of stuff like that. So let's grab a few favorites. Yeah, Photoshop magic. It's exactly what we're going to be doing. No judgment here. It's amazing. You have just endless amounts of art and photos and everything all over the internet, and because of that, it can be so hard to find anything you need. Let's try the other one. That's a colored pencil drawing. That's very cool. You know what? I should actually be doing this over here where you guys can see what I'm looking at. It's very silly. That's kind of cool. We don't really need too much to get us started because again, this is pretty fanciful stuff. We're not necessarily gunning for huge amounts of realism at the moment. But references. This is a good dog. Everything is fine. Oh, good birds. Alright, I am definitely distracted. Man, I cannot look at the internet. How about we just grab this guy for now? Should be okay. Although, I am a fan of this. Just worried that would look a bit like a hole in the world. Squishalot's Photoshop is updating. I find Photoshop picks really exciting times to do that. I'm Totally Normal is asking if it's possible to buy a Stonehearth shirt, and sadly, at the moment, no. I'm sorry. But, perhaps at some point we will do something about that, but we haven't been prioritizing, we haven't really been prioritizing merchandise just yet. Obviously, we've been working on the game before we work on merchandise. Let's see about... I'm going to make an effort to name my, wow, this feels weird. To name my, my layers accordingly, which I'm not always very good at. Alright, are we set to the right mode? We're set to normal. This is clearly the brush. Sometimes whoever was on it last has it set to pencil. And eraser is also set to brush, not to pencil or block. Let's get rid of shape dynamics for now. We don't want to get too tedious. I say as I turn it right back on. I think my spacing here is a little close, so this would be a very dense mark. It would be hard to... Just so weird. Yeah, it's a little better. Push all the buttons. Oh, Poyo plushie! That would be awesome. Sir Andrews wants to try to make Smile and Pete when they get... You have to show me. if that happens, I will lose my mind a little bit. That sounds like something the world sorely needs. Smilin' Pete, yep, that's his name. Hey Norma, welcome to the stream. Glad to see you. Or maybe good evening. I'm not sure. Alrighty, so I'm kicking things off by painting a little bit into the edges of the water. I wanted to kind of suggest like the surface and how it might like ripple a little bit just at the edges. Again, this isn't an incredibly necessary step to what we're doing at the moment, but if we're aiming for like elevating this to levels of like atmospheric and immersive, I think little touches like this are actually quite important. But let's make sure that they're going in like a particular direction too, so it's like, hey, the wind is doing some of this. Oh no, Rose Bell Tower. That's right, Rose Bell Tower also, like, man, Rose Bell Tower happened this year, Smilin' Pete happened this year, that crazy tall orc with the platform shoes happened this year. I don't even know what her name is. She's very tall and has 2 hats. Alright, cool. Let's keep it loose, keep it sketchy. It's definitely been a while since we've done one of these. Take a little bit of light here. We've panned out pretty far too, so why don't we soften up these borders a little bit? How did we used to do that? What was that? Start by... We're gonna borrow the blue from the waters, because we may as well use a blue that's already present in our palette. If we start introducing a bunch of colors, it might just get busy. I'm gonna make this thinner. I can, can't I? Dang it, Photoshop! Ugh! You never let me do anything fun. Alright, that is obviously way too dark. But I have a plan. Maybe not way too dark, but it is very desaturated. There we go. Brighten it up a little. I'm gonna flick that on and off so you can kind of see the difference that it makes. So here we have the shadows that are very gray, and here we have them cooling off a little bit. Though I think this blue might actually need to be warmed up a little bit. It needs to tilt a bit more towards the... Oh, that's way too warm. I feel like we might be in danger of having the witch blue is the warm blue argument for any artists in the chat. That argument ends friendships and ruins lives. Hey, welcome, I'm totally normal. Oh yeah, and Poyo Goblin, that's right. Man, a lot of things. Let's see. I'm Totally Normal is here, hasn't been here in ages due to college, glad to be back, glad to have you back, and wow, 340 hours of Stonehearth, that is awesome. Turtle Squish is asking who does the Thursday streams now. Right now we are all, I think Stephanie's been doing those currently. Oop, I just moved that over. And come 2017, we're actually looking at all of us kind of sharing Thursday stream, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. If you watched last night's stream, you've already heard a little bit about what we might be doing in regards to that. But next year, you would be able to tune in Thursday night for Stonehearth streams, and it would be, the time would be shared by me and Stephanie and possibly other members of the team working on things. Oh, that's very bright. Overlay, no, you can't just do that. Good heavens, Photoshop, you sure are. Just desaturate that just a little. Warm it up. I was hoping to just kind of fuzz it a little, but I don't think that's doing what I want. So let's set it back to normal. Ew, yuck. Drop the opacity to 40. Raise the lightness. And possibly back it off even further. But yeah, as Mally is commenting, we are looking at changing things a little bit. There we go. It's a little touch, but it kind of helps. It helps with the lighting a bit. Right, our reflection is still looking kind of poopy. We also haven't actually painted any cool reflections in just yet. Man, I keep looking up here trying to find my round brushes and I'm not seeing them. It's very disconcerting. It's like when you go back to your desk and someone has rearranged all your stuff, and you don't know who did it, but you know someone did, and you totally didn't rearrange it yourself and forget. It's sabotage. Possibly by past you. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Dark Sights. Dark Sights has left has added a comment that reflections. Oh, I missed those Bob Ross episodes where he'd just do it like with 15 strokes. All right, let's Bob Ross this. Let's do it. We're doing it. All right, we're gonna make a layer. I know Bob Ross didn't have layers, but we can't all be perfect. All right. Okay. That's a lot of trees to do in 15 strokes. Also, this brush does not have a lot of character. This is not going to work, but we're doing it. This looks awful. No, no, we're committed. No, gosh, that's already 3. We need another color. This is terrible. I think that's like 800 strokes already. All right, you know what? Being Bob Ross is hard, so we're gonna go back to just being ourselves. Sorry, let's not do that again. Good heavens. Probably would be better if we had like a brush and canvas and things that actually had like texture and character instead of like this goofy slick situation. No offense to my wonderful Wacom here. It's a perfectly good machine. But I don't know. I still think nothing beats paper as far as like, or like anything really as far as like physical texture when you're drawing. It's just very satisfying. All you have to do is practice. I know. And thank you. I will practice. I will get so good at doing 1,000 reflections in 15 strokes. It will be my ultimate form. I'll just like channel Bob Ross momentarily and everything just looks like this amazing little painting all the time, and it just makes everyone so happy. I also don't think Bob Ross tried to paint things to look cubical, which I have to admit does complicate things a bit, because it's like everything that you feel like should be organic, and you're restricted to certain shapes. Though, on the other side of it, sometimes restrictions like that create really cool possibilities for solutions that otherwise you wouldn't think of because it's not necessary. And I think about that whenever I see, like, the Stonehearth trees, which I've always thought were very appealing. I wanna get in there at some point and add new shapes of trees and new kinds of trees even, but, like, even the base shape of it I feel like does an awesome job, because there's a ton of there's a ton of examples of how you can do voxel trees, and I think ours are very pretty and very cool. Happy accidents, exactly. Believe in yourself. Thank you, Coco the Freak. Now let's see. Serendaries is saying, do the reflections need to be strictly boxy, or can you have ripples in the water to add minor distortions to the images? It might add too much complexity, but it could be interesting visually. I think it would depend on how we distort the images. Like, we wouldn't want them to, like, distort like this, but maybe if, like, the image, and I have no idea how this would be done, by the way, so bear with me. If, like, let's say the image, like, you had your tree, and it did like this. Okay, so we have the treetop reflected in the water. It's exactly like how it looks. You happy little tree. There we go. Alright, so you have your tree reflected in the water. But, like, maybe what you would see would be, like, it would separate out a little bit where the ripples are, but distort in a way that was, like, committed to a direction. Okay, that doesn't look very good, but it was also very quick. That was committed to a particular, like, particular direction. So it's, like, cut in the same direction, and it would, like, move like this. But just off the top of my head. Because it would be really, really neat to see, like, the reflections move a little bit, rather than just being static. For now, let's, like, make the edges wibbly. Not like this, but like here and there. We really probably should have begun by painting the trees. Actually, you know what? Oh, we can't do it the lazy way. Can we? Nah, let's just go with it. This is the concept painting. We're gonna have a blast with it. This one's gonna go backwards a little bit. See these little guys? I feel like the color is going to change a little bit. I'm Totally Normal is asking, what's the image going to be used for? This image is going to be used to kind of inform the concept paintings that are coming up. So this is just like one idea of ways that we can use the style that we have to make the world look more atmospheric and more immersive. And ideally, we're going to make a lot of things like this that pick at a lot of questions that we've got. Like, when you deforest a whole area and you're left with, like, this big patch of green, is there something that we can do with that to make it a bit more lively? Or how about the fact that, like, no matter where you look, it gets really repetitive, like, with, like, the same couple of trees in the mountains all the time. Like, what if in certain areas you see, like, patches of wildflowers, or you go a little bit further and there's like a secret mushroom cave or something like that. So there would actually be many series of paintings that suggest solutions to this. Like, this offers one kind of solution to things we can do to make the water more engaging. And whichever ones we find support our goals the best, like the things that we're setting out to do, we would then use those pictures to kind of ask questions of, like, tech, like, okay, so what do we need in order to actually make something close to this? And that in turn helps us, like, plan out a schedule for what order we can do things in. On my side of things anyway, having a lot of studies like this and kind of shaping the way we want to go with things is a really great way of kind of mapping out our aesthetic in a way that's, like, totally from the top to the bottom. So that way, if we're starting very broadly, like super broadly, and we know what are the goals that we're trying to achieve with the look of the world, with the look of the game. That way later on when we're like, hey, we're going to add a new kind of rock formation to the desert, and we have all of these kind of pillars in place that show us like how our style works and what kind of effects that we make, that sets us up a style guide. And that's also something that is sort of getting built again. So like I said at the beginning of the stream that doing this here today is slightly premature, but this is still relevant to a portion of what we're proposing to do in the beginning of 2017. So for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning of the stream, I opened up by saying that in 2017 on the art side of things, on what I've been doing, I'm actually going to be taking a bit of a step back from a lot of like the up close things that I've been doing. So we've like on the stream even we've spent a lot of time doing where is it? I don't have my color window open, that's weird. Doing like houses and goblins and lots of like small things that you know, support and reinforce features as we're releasing them. Whereas in 2017 we're looking like at the bigger picture of Stonehearth and how to make it like as cool as possible, which means a lot more concept art and a lot more thinking about that from a bigger perspective. In order to create something that you can like feel at every level of the game. Like when you pick an area to settle in Stonehearth to raise up your awesome little town and play your game, like we want that world to feel like a place that's like cool to play in and believable, especially because like, and you guys have been a part of this too, like we have lore for this world, for these characters. This isn't just like a procedurally, I mean, okay, it is procedurally generated to an extent, but what I mean is it's like the world itself is something that we are aiming to present as a thing with like its history and its lore, and so it can be like a platform for you guys to like get super buried in and like plant your own stories in, and you know, kind of help determine the destiny of when you play your games. So it's like we don't just need like, hey, we need trees. It's like, okay, what do trees in Stonehearth look like? What does that mean? What do the buildings look like? And we've been, I feel like we have a lot of examples of things that work really, really well already, but there are areas of things that could work better. So we're using the things that are working well to kind of like help us create studies on the things that need a little help. Lots more variety, lots more things. And a lot more concept art. Oh, Surrender has shared a link. Yeah. So something to this degree, like through the whole pond, would probably be really, really busy, but maybe around the edges, that could be really gorgeous. Yeah. I think so. Area, like, I think we should have distortion in some places. Oop, could not use the history eraser, I don't even know why I would. Don't erase history. It's a bad idea, Photoshop. Who even said that was fine? Alright, so we're reflecting at a certain angle. Some of these might be at a bit of a strange angle, but bear with me. Either way, we now have some trees. Let's see about... Ooh, interesting. Let's see about messing with those and painting a few reflections. But like closer to the... Hey, welcome back, Mally. No need to apologize. This might not do the job quite well yet. Hey, welcome, DigiChaz. I Actually, let's take that image that Surrenderies just sent and throw it up there. That's kind of in the way now. This little corner up here is our reference pool. So yeah, we probably, again, wouldn't want to like do this all over the place, but I think in certain areas up by the coast it could be really pretty. Especially if once we find a way to do that with voxels so that it wasn't like really steppy and really like seasick looking. Until we like would more consistently introduce other things into the world, like a gust of sand or something in the desert that would move in a very fluid way, having it in one place would really call it out. But I think we could also do it with voxels as well. Wow, that's the wrong layer to do anything on. I tried. I'm Totally Normal is loving the slab tool for adding freedom for design. The slab tool is a blessing and also a slab tool. I am a fan. It helps me when I do a thing and it leaves a hole and I'm like, well, what do I do now? And I use the slab tool and everything is fine. Not everything, but everything is fine. Gust of sand! But yeah, that would be in terms of like things that would move in a way that wouldn't be like squares. Yes, Surrenderies is saying that's a good idea that you could have something going on in the desert to fill the space. The space is one of the many things that is driving the concept art explorations, absolutely. But yeah, like little areas with sand will occasionally gust up, areas where maybe burrowing animals, I love that idea, can burrow up, stuff like that. Rabbit holes, fox dens, raccoons climbing trees, says Dark Sides. Yes, things that make the world feel lived in, feel alive, feel less like it's just a thing that goes on X number of tiles until it runs out. Like, we want it to be believable. And really pretty and really cool, so like when you look at your town, there's like things happening in the world around it that just feel really, really satisfying. Okay, I'm trying to paint distortion here, but I don't think it's going well. Maybe it used to happen like at the tops of the trees? Let's get sketchy with it for a second. Creepy spiders and scorpions. Yes. Butterflies and dragonflies. Absolutely. Also birds. Please, birds. Birds somewhere. Anywhere. I know we have poyos, but I also want birds to like come in and land on trees and yell and then fly away. Now that just looks like they're kind of full of holes, doesn't it? Maybe... keep it simple. Yeah, because it's like when you look here, you really notice most of the distortion like on the edge of things. But then in other examples down here, like further away where, you know, that's another thing. Further away where the ripples are very close together, the image appears to be much more solid. Whereas closer to you is where you notice the image really, the reflections really, oh wow, that's super pixely. But the reflections really start to get more distorted. And with our vantage point, we're pretty high up. So I'm not really sure how much of that overall you would see, but maybe like once you zoomed in further, you'd notice it more. What do we got? Yes! More reflections. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so that seems to be consistent. Where it's like, the closer the water is to you, the more that's where you're gonna see more of the reflections. And the further away the images appear to be more solid because the ripples are closer together. It would still wiggle around a lot. Neat. Okay. Thank you. Well, we're working on water somewhat, Mally. We're working on reflections, or just on, yeah. We're kind of, we've been talking a little bit about how 2017 is going to be full of more concept art and less like small pieces for features and things, at least starting out. So since this is the last art stream of the year and we're going to be changing things up a bit next year, I wanted to kick off by like doing one of these. But of course we had to pick something that is like, hey, how do we do distortion in a still image, and it's all at angles and squares and stuff, and it's weird. We did try to be Bob Ross earlier, but it didn't work. Turns out being Bob Ross is really difficult. I have not mastered that limit break yet. Also, I'm not sure I'm ready. Seems like a lot of responsibility. Oh, I painted that blue. That's weird. Let's get the scale in there. You're right, Wasp. Okay, that's true. Wasp says, I need the beard. Sarandri says, I need the fro. So maybe it's like a Super Saiyan thing where we get so chill and happy about art, we like suddenly like have the afro and the beard and everything, like that's how it works. Clearly we need to train at a higher gravity. Also, I wonder if Bob Ross powers would be compatible with a Photoshop, with an Intuos stylus. I think part of his magic is the expression of the brush, which we've long been trying to find shortcuts around. A cup of coffee. Oh man. I'm not sure if this is quite the solution we're going for just yet. Let's open up another layer because I don't want to keep accidentally erasing our reflections. Gesundheit. Someone in the office sneezed. I don't know who it was. Whitelead Cat is asking, will water be able to do something in future patches? Hopefully, yes. We had an adventure the other day where we tried to drain the lake off the edge of the world because things happened and it was necessary. And we were all very sad when it didn't work. But water is not done, and we're also not forgetting about water. It's just also not something that we're, I don't think we're prioritizing it quite right at the moment. But in the future, water will do other things. Also, do not try to drain a lake by burrowing to the edge of the world. Or do try it, because it's very entertaining, but it will only let you down. Indeed. Alright, let's do the thing and merge that down, because what I want to do is fuzz with it a little bit. It is really hard to stylize ripples, but I think the vantage point is also something that there we go, that starts to feel a little bit better. Alright, give me my brush back. I ought to upload my presets to every computer in the universe. Surrenderies, I guess it's a little bit of everything. Like, there are things happening with tech, with concept. Like, we haven't really done many art passes of where we want water to be, like, in an aesthetics perspective, and it's so far just been trying to get it to work. And time right now, it's like we're all working on so many things. So, like, finding a way to, like, channel us into where we need to be the most effective is always a challenge. You know, it's a small team. Lore restraint. Yes, the lore of the water is holding it back. Maybe. Wait, why did I open this layer? Oh, that's why. Neat. Remembering things. So, I said we were going to use this to look at clouds, and we've spent the past while looking at trees. So I'm going to borrow the color of these clouds. Hope they don't mind. Now where do we have... Okay, cool, we do have some cloud shadows. So you can see that our clouds are going this way. Yep, happiness is, as Mally is saying, happiness is currently the system that is taking precedent. And we've been working cross-discipline as an entire team on our recent clouds. That's right, clouds are actually quite difficult in Stonehearth. On our recent endeavors. We should have done the clouds first. I'm a fool! It's okay, we'll blend them. Hello, Dovahkiin, and... Yep, welcome to the stream. It's true, it can be very confusing. Alright. I feel like... Yay! Thank you, that would be awesome. Let's see. Shouldn't... Just want to see some clouds in this really quick. I mean, it is. It's still pretty bad, but we're gonna figure it out. Other thing about clouds. That's wrong. Being way too tight with this, I need to loosen up. Why? Current layer. Apparently one of my layers is blending onto it, making it hard to pick colors. Surrenderies, that's a very good point. Surrenderies is commenting that with how many things are buzzing around, I'm impressed we can all remember any of it. Hello! Welcome to the stream! Stop trying to erase history, Photoshop. It's just not good. You are just a computer program. Thanks so much. Val, is that how your name is pronounced? Definitely correct me if it isn't. Alright, we need to be sketchier with this. I'm trying to be way too precise with it. Also, these clouds seem kind of dark. We can always do blending and stuff after. See, now they're very, very... We'll figure it out. Again, this is just one look at what might be a solution. So the idea is not necessarily to get it perfect and nail it, but to start getting things on paper so that future studies can be more effective. I know some of the earlier Edge of the World concept art paintings took quite a while just to figure out ways that we would blend the colors and the features, especially when we were working with the ones that resembled like a storybook. How that posed some actual like weird physical stuff to the voxels, like what happens in the center of the book, and how we would need to possibly stylize the voxels and use effects to make that like work visually. So it's really no surprise that this would be troublesome. In fact, the very first paint overs we did were clouds, and we discovered that clouds were actually kind of a pain in the butt. But they're also really pretty, and we should struggle for them, because they make our world feel more whole. Tovakeen is saying, with a game like this, I would love the world to be Minecraft size. Oh my gosh. I wonder how that would work with like an indirect control type thing. Like, with something of a scope like that, would you want like multiple settlements that would like populate the world? It seems like something like that is almost grounds for a multiplayer experience, but that's just me talking out of thin air, so I can't really imagine how that would work. You just like keep building things. I always wanted to just see how big you could make one house in Minecraft, but I would get tired. Mass war, no. Well, maybe with the goblins. Though that could be horrifying. They are small, but they are scrappy. They will just ask you for so much of your stuff. Like, lots of it. I don't even know what they're gonna do with, like, 8 forges, but they need it. I've seen their camp. There's only, like, 5 of them. I'm sure it makes sense to them. But I do like to imagine when they impose these demands, like what in the world they're going to use that for. But yeah, chances are we would not be a game that works at quite that size. Oh, you made a house just to see how big you could make it? Yeah. I don't know. Dovahkiin is saying, I think a procedurally generated map would be epic. I think a procedurally generated map could be epic. But still, I think, like, the size of it should work with, like, how the game is designed to be played. Like, an endless procedurally generated map kind of world, I feel like, really lends itself to a game where you're, like, a first-person explorer kind of a situation, whereas, like, it can take a very long time to tell a Hearthling to go, say, a mountain away to fetch something, and, you know, there's problems with that as well. Personally, though, on the subject of procedurally generated things, like, I would love to see more features of our current landscape and how that would look procedurally generated. I'm always a little iffy about it. Like, I feel like sometimes it's very easy for that to wind up looking incredibly busy and kind of like math art and not like conscious decision making, which generally, you know, you want to avoid. While we are going out of our way to make Stonehearth look pretty and epic. You know what, let's do that with, oh, but if we, you know, let's save that, and then we'll use, which way would be better? See, we don't want this to compete too hard with the area around it, or else all you'd see are the bright clouds. Like, at that intensity, it draws your eye right to it and never lets go. But if we faded them out a little bit, actually, they could definitely use some softness. So what we're gonna do is drop each of these down in opacity a ways. Grab one of them and make it fuzzy. There we go. It's not going to look incredible. We're just kind of, this is a little slapdash at the moment, but bear with us. Hey, remember how I said I was going to, like, actually make an effort to name my layers things? Check it out. They're all named, like, layer random number. Yeah. Old habits die hard. I will one day be better about this, I think. I hope. I keep saying. Maybe that'll be my New Year's resolution. We'll remember to name layers things. Yep, there we go. Tamora's asking what we're working on today. Today we're doing a little bit of concept art, taking a look at one possible way that we can make water cooler, or look cooler. And this is a thing because, like, we've been working on a lot of, like, small pieces like goblins and houses and signs and things like that that support features on like a ground level, but in the new year we're going to be working on a lot more like broader perspective things which for art means like looking at the art we have and figuring out how to make it like work even better. How do we like clean up the things that want more polish? What does that look like? So we're going to be creating more concept art that kind of explores those things. So since this is the final art stream of 2016, which is insane to think about, I thought we would spend a little time today taking a look at what something like that might be like. Which has been fun so far. We tried to be Bob Ross, for instance. We've experienced a variety of kinds of voxel reflections, some more successful than others, and I still think this could use some work. But it's not bad for just a couple of minutes of exploration, honestly. Like, some of these concept paintings have taken more or less time depending on what's come before them. And it's also really, really hard when you, like, first set out to do them. Hey, this is still set to the wrong thing. And you're, like, just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. So you haven't really, like, boiled it down to things that are very successful just yet, and that doesn't usually happen until later. Yeah, that's horrible. Let's get rid of that. But with each one of these, you start penciling in those blanks. You start seeing what is successful and what does work. Did I actually name that layer? Of course, the one layer I was looking for was the one that I named. See? Naming layers saves lives. Saves time. Do y'all get random things in the mail at the office? Not Turtle Squish things. Things that show up here do so on purpose. I don't think we've gotten any mystery packages. I hope not anyway. That sounds kind of scary. Just trying to clean up these edges a little bitty bit. Maybe we could put even like a few more more distant clouds as well. That's a very good point, Timur. Well, at least for now, there's no need to worry about it contributing to that at the moment. I think the bigger thing that's like that pond. That pond needs it a duck. My memory is... I wouldn't say my memory is bad, but I would say that I will get very focused on certain things. This pond does need it a duck. And I would say that's a fitting way to kind of wrap up this exploration. variety of floating waterfowl would be quite good. This is a sorry duck. Little brown duck. Paint a happy little voxel duck. We're doing it. Wouldn't say no to a turtle or two. That'd be cool. I was admiring the last time I was in New Orleans. I met some friends of mine at the Audubon Zoo, and I was admiring the way that the turtles in the ponds there, they were very large for one, and they were also incredibly numerous. It was like a turtle convention. But the way they would like kind of like go together on the branches and in the water, they looked like mossy stones. They didn't look like turtles at all until they moved. Sure is a duck. Alright, see you later, Kyrian. Thanks for joining us. The duck and the turtle are discussing the weather. Yes. But I'm not sure where the turtle is just yet. First of all, that duck needs some reflections. This duck not casting any shadows, perhaps it's some kind of beast from another dimension. So we can't do that. A little lighter. There we go. Feels kind of pretty. Let's give it like a little bit of a just a little bit of a paddle here so he's got some direction. We know that duck is going places. Whiteley Cat is asking, are turtles planned in the game? The closest thing we currently have to a turtle is the Varanus, which I promise is based somewhat, actually entirely, on the world's most terrifying turtle. But that's, like, other animals and monsters and things is a discussion that we're going to be having in the future, in order to see, like, how many different kinds of things we're going to, like, put in the world. I do love turtles. One of the things that that we want to make sure that we do, though, is because the world of Stonehearth is a particular place, we want to make sure that we're not, as you know, and I know we just drew like a little ducky, so I feel like this kind of isn't fair for the duck, but we want to make sure that we're putting things in the world that are very specific to the game, like more things like the Varanus, things that look like they belong specifically to the world of Stonehearth. Boop. Trying to duck. Ah. Right, turtle, right? Water animals. Okay, I feel like you'd see like the shell of the turtle like sticking up out of the water, and then the head and the flappy arms would be underneath it. I mean, not all turtles have flippers, but they have, like, they've got the good swim arms. Unless, of course, they are land turtles, in which we call them tortoise. Want to indicate... Oh, I know. Keep it simple. Do that? Wow, that's a weird noise. I wonder what they're doing out there. Turtle Squish is commenting that I feel like Rose Bell Tower would be the matriarch of a great college of determination. Oh, what are you showing? Alright, so in terms of making our duck more of a... Oh, gosh. Great. Where'd it go? More of a unique creature. I mean, this is pretty unique. How does this bill even, like, does it have two smiles, or is it just really wibbly? This duck is made out of things. Right, turtle. Turtle is happening. And then, sadly, we will probably have to wrap it up for today. But this has been fun. I'm excited to have gotten to do one of these concept paintings live with you guys. And again, this is like one study of very, very many that we're planning and looking at. But even what we've started here will probably go forward and power some of the studies we're going to be doing from here on out. No, I want to make this little, I want to give him like little underwater leggies. I need it to look good. What if we did it in the darker blue? There we go. That's a little less intrusive. It's difficult to make things look like they're underwater. Little turtle face. Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of work is always a lot of fun and really refreshing to do, because it is an opportunity to get in there and play with not just like what we do, but what we might think about doing. And I mean, in some ways you can be like, well, I mean, not everything obviously is going to happen, and a lot of the things that wind up concepted, you know, there's really not an effective way to realize it. At the moment anyway. But the thing that stuff like this does do for us is it gives us like something cool that we can shoot for, and that's something that I think is really nice. Oh, I give the turtle a few little directional guys. I think if you got like really close up to the water, you should be able to like see at the bottom, and there would be like water plants and things, but that's for another day. Pond lilies. Oh, pond lilies. Let's paint some pond lilies. Let's Google pond lily. Make sure we know what those look like, and then let's mess them up and make them cool looking. I know we said we were gonna go. I'm procrastinating. Alright. Pond lilies. Whoops, that's great. Yay! Let's have these guys. Whoa, it's very large. Into the reference corner with you. Oops, I stretched it. TPC Turtle Squish is saying, would the clouds move in the water or stay still? I would think that the clouds would move overhead in a way that corresponds with the shadows on the ground. I don't think it would be very good if they just stayed still. Even if as they were staying still they were like doing like the wibbly cloud thing where they kind of wiggle and change shape. Did I name this layer? No. Yeah, you'd see like cloud shadows, and mysteriously the clouds in the lake would not be moving, and that's when you realize that the lake is actually a hole in the bottom of the world that leads to the sky of another dimension. And all of your hearthlings keel over because they can't handle this existential crisis. The goblins, meanwhile, would just get very excited. Because they don't know what fear is. Whiteley Cat is saying it looks like the turtle is being propelled by gas. Yes. He's a combustion turtle. Very complicated engine system, like the whole way his body is designed, actually is very effective of keeping the water out. He gets pretty good mileage. Though if you're looking to get anywhere in a hurry and like being more environmentally conscious, you might consider taking the duck. The duck is solar powered. It's also powered by tiny fish and Fruit Loops. As most ducks are. I think Whiteley Cat in a final version, hopefully, like with the turtle especially, because the head and the legs would be very close to the surface of the water, you'd see them like swimming. And maybe if you got up close to something like a duck, you'd be able to see their feet going. But every now and then, like having a ripple behind them would probably be the most effective and cleanest way to do it from a distance. Which we are at quite a distance right now. I mean, we can see like 2 billion trees. Actually. Just want to paint the sides of some of our pond lilies. They're a little rough, but they'll do for now. I'm naming these layers. I'm doing it. Little square flowers. Just a few, don't want too many. Bearing in mind that this is the size of a berry bush, I already know that I'm gonna have to go back into this image and like resize everything to not be enormous. Like this duck is this is like a terrifying duck, and this is like an elder turtle. Here we go. Ah, thanks, Pandemic. We've been having fun with this today. Yeah. What Mally is saying really quick. Maybe at some other time you could have it so you see things under the water, like rocks and branches, sandy bits, and seaweed. I think it would be really rewarding if, depending on where your perspective is to the water, would affect like what you can see about the water. Like if you're very up close, you can see things in it, and when you're very far away, and depending on your camera angle, you can see reflections on a grander scale. Yeah. Alright, it's still a little janky around the edges of the trees here, but it's a start. So now let's do the thing where you group everything together and turn it on and off, because it's fun. So here's where we started, and here's where we wound up. We've been experimenting with painting reflections of trees and trying to get a glimpse at maybe what clouds floating overhead could look like, even though these are ignoring the shadows of the clouds on the ground for the time being. I wanted to get like a small enough pond to actually do this, and we wouldn't be spending a million billion years this morning painting clouds in the water. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, shoot. That really about wraps up our stream today. Unless there's something else that we're dying to see in the pond here, but I think some of the ideas we're throwing around would require a whole new investigation, which sadly we really don't have the time to do at the moment. So, thanks everybody so much for joining the stream today. This was really, really fun. Like, you know, and I've said this before on the stream, but when it comes to like trying stuff out in concept art and, you know, things where you don't really have like a clear idea of what the end is going to look like, it can be kind of nerve-wracking, like getting out in front of people and being like, yeah, we're gonna paint this thing. But it's so much fun to be live with everybody and have like you guys and your feedback and your support and your suggestions. Like I really enjoy that a lot. This is always like just super fun. So this is the last art stream of the year, and I think it should be said that in the coming year, because of all the top-down stuff that we're looking at doing and the way that we're kind of reorganizing around these bigger ideas of how we're working to make Stonehearth the coolest game possible, we're taking a look at possibly consolidating our stream schedule a bit in the new year. So what that would mean is instead of us having like a whole bunch of different streams throughout the week, we're gonna try and pick a day that is easier for everyone to make all the time. And at the moment, that's looking like it's gonna be Thursday. So if you were here for Stephanie's stream last night, she talked a little bit about this, and this is so that everybody on the team definitely has enough time to pursue all of these high-level concepts and things. So that unfortunately does mean we will probably be cutting back on our Wednesday morning streams. I'm trying to find a way to compensate a little bit for that. I know Tom used to open up flash streams, and I want to be able to keep you guys in the loop with what we're doing as much as possible, because this has really been like the highlight of my week for the past many months, like getting to know all of you and getting to do all these things. So I want to make sure that everybody's still involved, whether that means we every once in a while open up and do like a huge like catch up, get on the same page about what we've been doing, or if just from time to time when we're really cooking on a big painting, we just turn the stream on so you guys can come in and peek. But as always, we are still going to be like on the Discourse, we're still going to be doing Desktop Tuesdays every week, and you can definitely tune in on, let's see, we need a calendar. Okay, so we're going to be coming back from the break, and you can tune in on Thursday evening the 5th to find out more about what we're doing, about that. But for now, thanks everybody so much for joining the streams. This has been really, really cool, and we'll definitely let you guys know what that's going to look like. Tobles is, I'm dying to see a mammoth and an ice block in there. Yeah, so hope to see you guys in January. Please tune in on Thursday and have a fantastic next 2 weeks. Tune in tomorrow night for our final Stonehearth stream of the whole dang year. That's been incredible. And yeah, thanks so much, and see you guys next year.